that. Now let's get into the next and last topic of this episode. Let's talk about the new Mob Rules album entitled Rise of the Ruler. And of course, we have an earbook. Another high quality piece of merchandise. I know Roar is part of Reigning Phoenix Music, but this earbook is phenomenal. And it has an extra disc of bonus tracks. Now, Mob Rules to me is probably one of the most overlooked power metal bands to ever come out of Europe. They've been around since the late 90s. I remember getting their debut album on my show way, way back in the day. And I have followed the band ever since. And I ended up doing an interview with Jan Christian Hafbrat. He's the keyboard player in the band. He's been in the band for quite some time now. First time ever interviewing anyone from this band, number one. But we have a lot in common because we both grew up with a lot of loving a lot of the same bands, which we do talk about in that interview. And I will put that interview clip, that interview in the show notes. But this album is awesome, and it's the first time in quite a long time Mob Rules has put out a record. And like I said, I own every album this band that Mob Rules has ever put out. And I got to be honest, this is one of the better ones. This one's actually very, very good and definitely well worth the wait. The bonus disc is cool. You have Stories from the Verdant Vale is what the bonus disc is called. If you like this band, the bonus disc is definitely worth getting with the earbook. A lot of bonus material on there. Generally speaking, though, the production's great. The songwriting is great. And the concept of the album is very, very good. So one of my favorite songs is called Trial and Trail of Fear. And the concept of the album, I think, is great. And to talk more about the concept of the album and, of course, that song specifically, here is an interview clip with Jan Christian Hafbrat where we talked about that. Check out this clip. I mean, it's really good. You have some videos out for it, obviously, which came out, which is cool. You have Trail of Fear. So, I think that video is it's a really good song too. Trial and Trail of Fear. Maybe talk a bit about that one.
Yeah, Trial and Trail of Fear. It was a song that came very late on the album. As I said, we had to replace our power ballad because at this point another track was needed, and we wanted to have a more heavy track. In the story, it's the moment when you watch a film, there's a certain moment of despair where everything seems to go down and the heroes lose their faith. And this is exactly the point in the story where this song kicks in. So it tells about hard times, struggles you have to go through, where you have to force yourself to push to a certain situation. So the name says, the Trial and Trail of Fear. And this musical feeling is the foundation of this song. So it starts with this somehow melancholic piano start, and then I think it's obvious that Klaus and Sven, who are the main songwriters, are big Judas Priest fans at the moment. So I guess there are some influences from that part. But we tried to write a song that is more straight at this point. So the album was nearly finished, and we needed some song that has a certain drive we found where we saw it. And so the song came in with this drive, then with this very speedy solo part to bring a fresh nuance of sound in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a twist of melancholic and heaviness. That was the idea behind.
Yeah. The title Rise of the Ruler.
Yeah.
What was it about this record? Why did you pick that as the title?
The Ruler is our band mascot. So when you remember Savage Land or Temple of Two Suns, there's always this guy on the cover with this strange mask. And like every band in the 90s, we also had our band mascot, and it was the Ruler. So it was this person, and all the stories were written around this guy. It's in the story. It's
the guy in the big throne, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's the ruler. He's ruling, and the story is shortly tell about in a dystopian world where everything went down and just a few people survived. There's a group of survivors who want to find a new home. And there's this guy, the ruler, a very ambivalent person. So on the one hand, he's a good guy who leads them out of this wasteland into a green valley. But on the other hand, he's a ruler. He's a guy who has power and has his own obstacles and his own goals. So it's not quite clear if he's a good or evil one. And that's the person in the first album. They wander through Savage Land. In the second album, they reach the Green Valley and build up a new society. And he is now the ruler. You can see him sitting on the temple and obeying some stars and thinking about some higher forces to come down. So that's the story. In our new album, I want to some spoilers. The story is also settled 30 years after the events, so as our band evolved. And the main idea was what happens if this person who has this balance and he's good, he's evil, now really turns evil. And this is what you see in the videos. It's said that the ruler over the years somehow fall into insanity on his evil side to command. And so he does some cool decisions. And there's a young temple guard, Dendaya is his name, who rebels against this ruler and said, okay, it's enough now. But the rebellion failed, so he and the group are forced to leave the Green Valley and are back to Savage Land because we wanted to set the story in the Savage Land.
Yeah.
And during this event, the ruler dies out of his insanity. So our band members died. And then the story shows that this guy, Dendaya, who's a good guy, somehow turns into the new ruler. So in the end of the album, there's a new ruler, a new cycle repeats, and this good guy also gets some evil twists in the story. And so we tell the story of the rise of a new ruler. And that's the main thing. But if you think about our band, it's the same for us. We repeat our circle, and we, as Mob Rules, with our band mascots, we try to rise above our old obstacles and a new ruler, a new band. We're not the same band that we've been 30 years before. And this is somehow the meta layer of the story. So we as a band, we rise again, and the new ruler is rising, and that's all behind. We get a lot of more information in the yearbook, so I've written a lot of information about this.
Well, that's good. I'll be able to read it. I think the ruler needs to, raise the popularity of European power metal in the States.
I hope so.
Okay, there's Jan Christian Hafbrat talking about the concept of the album and my favorite song off of this album, Trial and Trail of Fear. There are definitely a lot of great tracks on here. The second disc, of course, has some really cool stuff on it. Savage Land reprise. But songs like Trial and Trail of Fear, Back to Savage Land, Future Loom, these are probably, you don't get much better than that when it comes to European power metal. And I think they did a great job with this album. It's definitely more in a traditional, like a combination of traditional metal and power metal. And again, give a shout out to Roar, RPM. The really awesome illustrations in this book are very, very good. Really, really cool stuff. So I think this album is very good as far as power metal albums are concerned. And again, I said this in the beginning of the actual episode here. It is so difficult to pick my favorite albums right now from this year. This year has been absolutely phenomenal. With Mob Rules, I'm going to be honest, this is definitely one of their best albums. It could be their best album, in my opinion. Just everything about it is perfect. The songs are well written. The production is great. Everybody is on point as far as their performance on the album. It's definitely another album of the year candidate for me, folks. So picking the end of the year albums, my favorite albums, and ranking them is going to be very, very difficult. Probably more difficult than any year of this show where I've had to pick that. And Mob Rules just made that a lot harder. So with that being said, that's what I think of the album. Definitely check it out. I'll have a link in the show notes to the interview with Jan Christian Heffbrat. And I definitely want to tell all of you to check this record out. If you like power metal, if you like traditional metal, definitely highly recommended from yours truly. Hey, it's Tony here from the Metal Command Show. I want to thank you for watching this portion of the program. Since 1998, I have hosted the show, which started off as a radio program and is now into the podcast format. So I want to thank you for watching and or listening. And if you want to support the program, hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell to be notified anytime I do post any content. A lot of you have been supporting the show and really helping this show grow, and I cannot do it without all of you. So with that said, thanks for watching. Stay metal.